What's going on, everybody? This is Dave from Post Rock Chrome. I'm here with Danny from Horse Torso from Brooklyn, New York. How's it going, Danny?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Of course, I really appreciate you coming on and chatting up a little bit. Let's dive right into it. So, when and how did Horse Torso form?
So I think it was probably 2015 that the idea for Horse Torso came into existence. And I want to make sure I get my timeline straight here, but I'm almost positive that the entire inception was based off of our bassist Nick, who's in the band Baroness. So this was only a couple years after he joined that band. And yeah, I mean, that became his full-time gig, like, pretty much immediately. And so John Baisley, the lead singer and rhythm guitarist of Baroness, had been saying to Nick, he wanted to record side projects if there were any, and like if Nick brought something to him that he'd be into recording it. So then it was like, I think Nick started writing some stuff too. And I don't know, I like to write music a lot, and I've been doing it for a long time. And I get most motivated by a particular project that like could happen, or it's like, oh, there's this thing that if you wrote some shit for, then it would be cool. So I just got really psyched and wrote some shit, and I already knew like I wanted to have, like, I'd been doing a lot more jazz stuff, and I wanted to have like a heavier type of band, but still with some of that, like, insanity and unpredictability that comes with the, harmonic elements of weird jazz. So yeah, so I just basically wrote some shit and told Nick, hey, like, will he record this? And Nick asked him, and he said he would. So it was like based around the idea that we'd get to record this session. And that, I mean, John obviously like is great at everything he does. So like, like I knew it would sound great as well. And so we played like one show, like our first show, when some of these concepts were still kind of like, I was still deciding what the hell I wanted to do. And I had this like stupid fucking mask that I just like wanted to wear. This like, it was just like a dog mask, but I just like wanted to wear it. And I'm like, I'm gonna fucking wear this thing. But then, also I wanted the music to be memorized eventually, but that at that point it wasn't. And we were also playing at more of a jazz venue, this place called what is it called now? Shapeshifter Lab in Brooklyn. That's just like kind of it's like a raw kind of loft space, but it's a jazz venue. So basically this gig was like me with the stupid ass mask on, and then like the two guitarists sitting down reading sheet music, like in a real, chill fashion or whatever. It was fucking awkward, for like three people. But then, yeah, then we did the recording. And so I, started, then it's like, oh, this is a thing now. So I guess I'll start, trying to book some shows or whatever.
That's awesome. So, you're from Brooklyn, New York. How's the scene there? Do you have a favorite local band, a favorite venue?
Ooh, that's hard. Yeah, I mean, as we were talking about a little bit before, there's just so much going on and so many musicians doing so many things. I tend to end up in like the Bushwick, Ridgewood area for shows or playing shows, just because there's so many sort of like small to mid-sized venues that cater to any kind of crazy shit, whether it's just like really heavy music of all types, or like, free jazz, just like anything weird as hell and probably aggressive as hell. Like there's all these venues that are like, yeah, totally, do that in our back room, please, or do that in our basement, please. So, like, I mean, I've been to Gold Sounds a lot recently, which is just, I mean, sometimes you're going there to see a hardcore show, sometimes you're going there to see free jazz, and it helps too booking bills, because I like to have discombobulated genres, playing together. I want to have like one, mathcore band and one whatever kind of, noise thing, or like, free, like whatever, just there's a certain energy to it, but the genres aren't the exact same. So it's more about the energy. And I think yeah, there's a lot of places in Brooklyn that like facilitate that. But I've also just been going to a lot of jazz shows lately too. So for that, it's just it's so ridiculous how much talent and just like and so it feels like there's more venues than there were pre-COVID, and that, like, it could just be because I've been out of town for a while and like I wasn't here during COVID, but like for jazz stuff, just I don't know, there's just so many spots, and I'm like, it's overwhelming, but in a good way, I guess.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I feel really fortunate to be a part of it, or just to be in this place, really.
So who are your biggest influences?
Um, let's see. I have influences in so many different genres, but like I guess when I hear that question, I think about like maybe compositionally or just like artistic approach more than just like, oh, okay, I've got drummers that like I love, and when I play a certain genre or style, I sort of mimic those drummers. um I love Deerhoof and Greg Saunier, and like I think that one came to mind because they just put out another album. they've just they just have been putting out albums, one or two a year, for what seems like 20 years. I mean, maybe in that 20, more than 20, I mean 25 years probably. um and they're all good. Like it's really crazy. That's the part, like it's already amazing when people are um just have so much, are putting in so much effort and thought, but like when it's actually good too, and just like original and unique and whatever. Yeah. God, it's just like too many different, I mean, like, there's a lot of mathcore bands I like right now for sure, and like hardcore bands. And I just kind of relate to a lot of those bands, even though the music I make sounds nothing like that. There's just some kind of like energy to it that I relate to. I mean, like, I love like Full of Hell. Um, and I love some of the more like mathy bands. Like I like Chamber a lot. And yeah, I mean, I'm drawing a blank, but and then I have influences in like the jazz world. I mean, like this show I saw last night, it's literally like you can't be better at playing instruments, and like like the intersection of technical and creative like prowess is so over the top. This trumpet player Peter Evans, um who's, I mean, like I feel like you would have to say he's one of the greatest trumpet players to ever live, like in both realms, in like a classical and jazz realm. Anyway, I'm just saying a bunch of crap, but yeah, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I should probably look at my like phone, and it'll tell me what my influences are by how much I listen to certain shit. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love, a lot of different math rock bands. Like obviously Hella was a huge influence, and Don Caballero and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. I'm just blanking on it.
I could definitely relate to that.
Yeah, it's up there somewhere.
So if you could tour with one of those bands, which one?
Oh my God. I mean, God, that's because then it becomes a thing of like, would that even be acceptable? Like, would that work? Like, what would people think? But I mean, obviously, yeah, to do anything with Deerhoof ever would be amazing. And like me personally, like obviously Sonic Youth isn't a band anymore, but like, if I was involved with anyone from that, like if Lee or Thurston or if any of them, if all four of them at any point wanted to have anything to do with us for any reason, that would be huge. But that's like me really pushing it. I mean, there's so many bands I'd kill to work with, and I think there'd be a good fit, and I'd love to be a part of some more of the math related show, like, things involving some of the more traditional like style math bands, like Floral and Rob Ford Explorer and stuff like that. Excuse me. But yeah, no, totally. I'm pretty open to playing with lots of bands.
Sonic Youth would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's like it's just kind of almost hilarious to say it. It's almost silly, but again, like those are the people that are like just a few people removed from other people I know, so it's like, as long as I just never like stalk them too hard, then maybe I'll accidentally like wind up in a conversation with one of them. So wishful thinking, but it is, I mean, that is part of like what I love about living here too, is it doesn't feel like, people don't feel like they're supposed to be stars, or that they think they're stars, or that they like carry that energy, even if they kind of are, like it just, I don't know what it is, and it could just be me making it up, but something feels that way, of like there's just so many people like that in a given room. If you're at a certain show or something, it's just like it can't matter that much at a certain point. You just get used to it,
Everybody's chill, everybody's humble.
Absolutely, for the most part, totally,
Very cool. More places should be like that.
I know. Well, and there's totally the flip side, and it's like the cliche is totally true, and the joke that people make about, you play in Brooklyn and the audience is just like, and they just like don't react, and they just look whatever. Like totally, sure, that's true, but they're there to see the show, your weird ass show, like they're at it. So
as long as they're there, that's what matters.
Yeah, if it's it is impressive to me to get a good crowd at shows that are not in certain regions when you're doing such weird music, and I mean, some of that is just by the numbers, just a smaller city, less people, but I don't know. But also Horse Torso was barely ever played outside Brooklyn, so I'm hoping that changes this, if things are not crazy this summer and shows are being booked. Definitely we're gonna go somewhere.
Come to Hershey.
What's that?
Come to Hershey.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I have a friend whose hometown is Hershey, so.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's make it happen.
Well, yeah, dude. Where should we play? Where's the spot to play?
I recommend the church. It's in
okay.
It's next town over from Hershey. From my place, it's 15-20 minutes. And I know the people there that put on shows, so let's make it happen.
Nice. Oh, great. Yeah, I'll definitely ask you about that.
Sounds good. So now I'm going to ask you some non-music questions. It's a good way for me to get to know you. I did this with the other bands I interviewed. Are you ready to go?
Sure.
Our first one, favorite video game.
Ooh, favorite video game. I mean, I was playing a lot of Nintendo. I'm not a big video game person as far as like what's happened since 1996 or something, but I do love some NES. So like I was playing a lot of Punch Out recently, and it was really addictive. I don't know. Probably that's one of my faves. And even just some regular Mario's 1 through 3, like I like a chill game, or like Sonic. I like those games that are all the same, but it's a different character. Like Sonic, it's like, I mean, that one's really cool. Come on, like I like stupid games. I don't know, like my brother-in-law has like whatever PlayStation, whatever the most recent one is, and I remember watching him play this game that was so elaborate and so like just fucked up, like I don't know, it was just so intense, and like I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool, but god damn, it's like a huge ordeal, So give me some Mario, basically, is what I'm saying.
There's some classic games right there.
Some classics, yeah, I'll even take Pong, I could play Pong for a little while.
Very cool. So if you were stranded on a desert island, what 3 items would you want to have with you?
3 items. Well, okay, I'm pretty simple then. So It's gonna be boring as hell, but I would need weed for sure. Um, and I would need, so then it becomes like, all right, music has to factor into this, but does that mean like it can only be one album period, or it could be like a phone with all of it on your phone, like everything you need access to, like, you know, music, could I just say music maybe?
That counts that's two.
Yeah, and like I don't know, I mean, trying to think of what the most refreshing thing to eat would be. I don't know. What could I eat forever is a better question. I mean, I could eat crap, honestly. Like I could, I mean, um, but if it's a desert island, it's probably going to be fish because there's fish available. So no other answer would make sense. So this is very boring, probably, but those are my three: some weed, some fish, and a phone with music on it. Or if I had to pick an album, I don't know, that's a better thing to make me do, but I don't, that's really bad. I don't know. There's this fucking album by this funk bassist, Bernard Wright, called Nard. And it's like one of the funkiest, happiest thing. It's also one of those albums, if you listen to it, you'll hear at least 5 or 6 iconic hip hop samples. You're like, oh, that's where that came from. Oh shit, that's where that came. And like, it's really sick. And I could definitely play that forever. Like I might get a little crazy, but I would need that kind of shit if I was going to listen to something on a loop forever, probably.
That's awesome.
Or
So if
something.
you had $1 million and you could donate it to any charity, which one?
Whoa. Well, something involving the Innocence Project, or like something involving, you know, measures towards police reform, like that kind of stuff, like some civil rights related something. I think I'd have to do a little bit more. It's actually interesting too, because I've been already thinking about like ways to try and put on regular shows, because it seems like those are things where getting the artists to unite on it is the easy part. So then it's like, well, where can I host these shows, and like what are I've never done anything like that, so I don't know like the organizing of it and the how to make things legal, all those very important specifics, but like something involving prison reform and um just certain legislative measures that I have opinions about, that I would want to find out what organizations are addressing, so that I would probably reach out to a bunch of different like I'd probably try to get in touch with Ben Crump, and I'd be like, hey, like can you just tell me where I should put all my money, please? And he probably would tell me something great. And so that's something like that is how it would play out.
So if you could be fluent in another language instantly, what language?
Well, I mean, for convenience sake, it would be Spanish. And like with the neighborhood I live in too, that would just be a really good thing. But I don't know. That's more the answer of like practicality. But I don't know. I'm really dumb with languages. So when I think about wanting to speak certain languages, I'm just like, yeah, haha, that's a fantasy that would never happen. I don't know. Chinese would be a good one too. And that also would be useful where I live. Yeah, I don't know. It would be nice because you do start to realize like you live in a community that like it would be nice to be able to fully communicate with, and it's like if you were able, I mean, like if I were less dumb, like I would have obtained that skill by now, like at some point I need to actually go through with that, but it just feels like you can actually like be a real part of your community. Yeah, So
Never too late.
probably never too late. Yeah, I mean, too stupid, maybe. Too late, no. I just need twice as much time, basically.
Very cool. So if you go back in time and talk to one world leader or person of influence, who would it be?
Oh, I don't know. That's tough. Oh, that's tough. I really, um, I don't know. Maybe I would talk to, this is boring too, but like maybe I'd talk to like, I mean, FDR was a piece of shit too, but it's like, as you know, I would like, as far as on economic matters, I'd want to talk to someone. I mean, yeah, I'd probably want to talk to FDR about like how like if I could tell him like what went on between then and now, and like was like what can we do to keep things from shifting into the, you know, degree of unfettered capitalism that exists today. I would want, it would be something like that where it was could gain practical political like insight from a time before things got so zany. um but I don't know, everyone was such a, I mean, every man was such a piece of shit back then. Like, I don't know, it would be a weird conversation. It'd just be like, I'd want to get some knowledge, and then I'd also like, I guess you didn't say it had to be someone powerful though, so that's the thing. That limits it especially. But yeah, I don't know. That's a tricky one. I feel like I wasn't prepared for that.
All right, man. Last question. What are some places in Brooklyn that visitors should check out?
So yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like music venues, um, it depends on what you're going to see, but like, you know, I would say like places that tend to have more of the experimental shows are, you know, a lot of places in Bushwick and Ridgewood. There's a place, Bushwick Public House, that does free jazz. I think it's every Monday, and they have bands that play like every hour on the hour for like from maybe 6 to midnight. Um, and that's just crazy shit that like there's not a concentration of so many other places. Um, and then, you know, for like metal shows or hardcore shows of any type, I mean, St. Vitus is a legendary spot. I highly recommend. And they don't just have those kind of shows, but like it is an exceptional place to see, you know, a band like Full of Hell or Converge or Baroness or whatever. And yeah, and I don't know, like go to Prospect Park. Prospect Park is amazing. It's gigantic. And that's another thing with shows. And this, I don't know if this was something pre-COVID, but people will have shows just in the middle of the woods, and they'll just send you a pin drop location, and you walk off in some weird path, and all of a sudden there's a fucking scene in there,
That's
and they're doing
awesome.
some crazy shit. Yeah, it's so, you know, like, you know, well, there's a website I'll just promote just because I use it all the time. It's just nyc-noise.com. And this person that runs it just, I mean, you know, people submit the info to her, but like it's a combination of all the experimental shows and all the, you know, a lot of the heavier shows, and even some more mainstream stuff, but like it's just kind of a catch-all index of every night of every month, you know. So I pretty much, anytime I'm looking for a show, or like, hey, this night I'd like to go to a show, I go to that website and I just like see what the hell's going on.
That's amazing.
It really is. And then yeah, like the Jazz Gallery is a cool venue. There's a bunch of stuff in Harlem. I don't usually go up that far because that's like opposite end of town. But yeah, I mean, endless venues, and other stuff. I don't know. I'm way too one track. Like, there's a lot of cool other. I mean, like, eating good food is the other appeal of living here to me. Is like if I had money, like really the thing about being a millionaire, it's like I would spend 90% of it on food. That's all I would do. So yeah, I don't know, just pretty much music. But there's other cool shit that I'm just not like well-rounded enough to think of at the moment. I mean, a ton of museums. I mean, also like, I don't know, I was just at this place Pioneer Works, which is like a bunch of independent arts and like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm really bad at describing art stuff, but it's a really amazing, like unique museum. And that's in Red Hook. Yeah, there's a record store in Red Hook called Record Shop, I think, Record Shop. That also just has shows. It's a tiny little record shop that'll have, you know, crazy, like a lot of free jazz type stuff there. Yeah. So other than parks and jazz, I don't know. And any restaurant that is delicious.
That's really cool. You'll have to take me to all those places when I get over there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Let me know.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, chatting up a little bit. I really appreciate the support. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, really. Thanks for what you do and letting me be a part of it.
Of course. So for the people that are going to watch this later, where can they find you guys at?
So yeah, just Horse Torso on Instagram and Facebook. I've got a YouTube that's, I mean, I haven't posted much there, but there are some full length sets and other clips and some music videos and stuff. Yeah, but the Instagram is the main catch-all because that's what I use predominantly. So definitely hit us up there. Yeah, and we don't have any shows booked at the moment. We might sneak in another one in the beginning of January in the city somewhere, or possibly in Jersey. And yeah, but other than that, I'll just be working on new stuff, and we're definitely going to be playing a lot starting in the summer. Yeah, so be on the lookout.
Sounds good. Well, I hope you have a great night. We'll chat soon.
Yeah, thanks so much. You too.
See you later.